Good evening. Welcome to the Morrison County Board of Adjustment public hearing for September 30th, 2025. Please stand for the pledge. Thank you. Just a few items to cover before we get started. Please sign in at the door if you have not already done so. There you will also find a detailed handout of the step-by-step procedure we will follow tonight. If you wish to take one, please put any electronic devices on silent mode at this time. Also, please note that all testimony is being recorded for the record. Members of the board are appointed by the County Board of Commissioners with one member from each of the 5 commissioner districts. Land Services staff is here to assist the board with its duties. The task of the Board of Adjustments is to consider requests for variances and appeals from an order, requirement, or decision made by a county zoning official in accordance with state law and county ordinance. Each request is considered on its own merit. The burden of proving a practical difficulty rests with the applicant. If a variance is granted, it is granted to the land, not to the landowner. There's a protocol for how we will proceed tonight. For each variance request on the agenda, we'll hear a staff report, testimony from the applicants. Then the board will discuss and gather more information as needed. Next, I'll ask if there's anyone in the audience wishing to speak to the request. I'll ask each party to come to the podium, state their name and address for the record, and give their testimony. Please be as factual as possible and direct all statements and questions to me. After all testimony is complete, I will close the public hearing portion of the process. The board will then review and discuss the case in terms of our finding of fact criteria as required by Minnesota statute and county ordinance. We'll have a series of votes, discuss whether conditions be made, and have a final motion to approve or deny the request based on those findings. After this final vote on your request, you may leave if you wish. We do have 3 agenda items tonight in 4. I think it was Brent, George, Clinton, myself, and Amy attended the properties on Friday, 26th of September. And Marv, would you speak in the mic and let us know if you went?
Yes, I did. So yesterday evening, I viewed Sheila Matsko property. On Saturday, I viewed the Wazeka property, and also I viewed the Machi property on Saturday.
Thank you very much. And our first agenda item tonight is Sheila Matsko, 30995 East Cottonwood, application for a variance to place a storage structure within the setback to the lake.
Right-of-way and side.
And right-of-way and side property line. Would you please come up to the table here and state your name and address for the record, and welcome. Did I say it right, Matsko?
Yes, you did.
Okay.
So it's Sheila Matsko. The address is 30995 East Cottonwood Road.
Pull the mic closer.
Yeah, just a little bit closer. Thanks. Okay. Miss Amy, staff report, please.
Yes, Mr. Chair, this is a variance request to construct a shed within the setback to the lake, right-of-way and the side property line. The ordinance sections that apply is section 706.1, which requires a 75-foot setback from the lake, a 10-foot side yard setback, and a 40-foot right-of-way setback. Here is an aerial photograph of the property outlined in blue and yellow. And then here is some lakeside view. Then here is the survey that was provided by the applicant. And a site drawing also provided by the applicant. Here are the photos taken at the viewing. The property is made up of 2 parcels and is a non-conforming single lot, which means it's less than 120 feet wide and 30,000 square feet. The parcel is 107.89 feet wide and 10,505 square feet. No building envelope exists on the parcel. The applicant proposes removing the 3 storage structures, collectively 128 square feet, from the south side of the property and constructing an 8x12 shed 5 feet from the north property line, 50 feet from the lake, and 30 feet from the setback from the right-of-way. And your criteria questions, Mr. Chair?
Thank you. Anything to add, revise? That sound good?
That sounds good.
Okay, thank you very much, board members. Open it, oh,
Sorry, Mr. Chair, I did receive some comments, so I'll go through those. The first one is from, not gonna be able to pronounce this name, Jomila Coat? Choate? Okay. Do you want me to, is that you? Do you want me to read that, or? Okay, all right. I want to object to the possible approval of an application for a variance to place a storage structure within the setback to the lake and property line in Scandia Valley Township at the public hearing now scheduled for Tuesday, September 16th. It was, but now this was originally scheduled for the 16th. It's been pushed to the 30th because we had a difference, and so her comment is based on that. Just don't want to confuse you. Together with and subject to easement, and has been in the family since 1898, when the land was originally purchased from the railroad company by my late husband's great-grandfather, Albert Lindquist. I have a lot similar to the lot asking for the variance that the county says I cannot put any structures because of the setbacks, property lines, and easement. The lot in question already has a large dwelling structure on it, which I believe was built in the early 2000s under a hardship situation and must have needed variances at that time to even have been built. I believe the current property owner must have purchased the property knowing the lot has limitations as to whether additional structures could be placed on the property. Since the property already has a dwelling structure, a trailered boat, and a wooden platform on it, I believe the property would become overcrowded and overused with any additional structures. My lot has no structures, yet I cannot add a storage structure that would be more convenient for me to store items used at the lake during the summer season. The family has been told that only temporary structures could be placed on the property. I also believe several other lots between Lake Alexander and Cottonwood Road from the landing south to Bear Cabins are overcrowded, overused, and maybe not in compliance with the county stipulations. Perhaps some have received variances or grandfathered in. And I do plan to attend the public hearing. The next one is from Kevin Lindquist. I am writing pertaining to a shed being placed on the property of 3995 East Cottonwood Road. As much of being in favor of the shed being placed on Sheila Motzko's lot, I believe 1975 was the last time any request could be made for building permits on the lake side. Does 30995 East Cottonwood fall in a different category since this building was built in 2003? How does this building permit go through? We had a building permit in 1975, the last year to build on the lake shore side, or is it a different consideration for 30995 East Cottonwood Road? Because that part of East Cottonwood, the county never paid for that part of the road. Does lot size of 0.25 acres have no restrictions on how much building space can be on the land? Is the shed size less than 120 square feet? With all of these things taken into consideration, shouldn't the families that had lots since 1895 be able to have sheds on their lake shore? I'm so sorry, your name. Ms. Choate of 30693 Dove Road and myself, Kevin Lindquist of 30690 East Cottonwood Road, with lot sizes larger than 30995, with no building structure, be allowed to take out a building permit to build a shed also. My dad, Warren Lindquist, was told in 1975 was the last opportunity for a building permit. We look at what the county did with the construction of East Cottonwood Road, building a road through private property. If it is taken in consideration that north of my lot, East Cottonwood Road was never purchased by the county, therefore the county should allow building on the lakeshore side. Look at what my great-grandfather Albert Lindquist donated for the road. November 16th, 1921, recorded February 7th, 1922, in the Book A of Plats, page 198, Albert and Anna Lindquist, owners of the land described on the plat, have cause said land to be surveyed and platted as Pinehurst lots, Morrison County, Minnesota, and do hereby donate and dedicate to public use as shown on this plat. When the county put in County Road, Cottonwood Road, that Albert Lindquist donated, they did not use the land that my grandfather donated. The county went through our private property constructing the road. The right-of-way to build was more forgiving in 1921. Today it's 25 feet east Cottonwood Road is off the mark 25 feet or more when it hits our place. 30690 East Cottonwood Road. That would have been 25 feet more lakeside property we would have now. Ms. Choate and myself should be over and beyond, be able to put a shed on our lakeside lots. The width of our lot far extend 50 feet, what Sheila Motzko has at her place. And she has a living place on there also. I would say let Sheila Motzko put the shed up, only if Ms. Choate and myself can do the same. And then one final comment is from Charlene. I don't have or Charlene Adams. I'm responding to the letter dated August 14th regarding the public hearing for Sheila Motzko. I completely approve of the variance to place a storage structure within the setback to the lake and property line. I believe the previous structure was badly damaged in a storm earlier this year, and I am in favor of her replacing the structure. All right, now I'm done, Mr. Chair.
Okay. Anything on those in addition to earlier?
No,
Okay, thank you. Board members, open it up.
Mr. Chair,
Clint?
Amy, so she has them 3 storage sheds that are ready, and then she has like that deck platform, wood platform thing. So them things are there, so she has the right to replace them, right?
If they were legally established, since she...
I mean, like as right now, are they legally established, or I mean, would she be able to
we would do the research to see if they
Okay.
were legally established. Since she's not proposing that,
Yep.
We didn't do the research.
Yep.
But because something's there, doesn't mean it was legally established and they have a right to replace it. So when someone comes in for a permit to replace something, that's the first thing we look at. If it does not meet setback, that we would be looking, do you have the legal right to replace it? These, I don't have an answer since that wasn't on the scope of the request.
Okay, so it just kind of goes with my comment. So I don't really have many questions, but I have a comment. When I looked at this application at first, before I dug into the actual packet and did the site visit, it's like, what in the world did they be asking for a storage shed? They can't meet no setbacks. You read through the book, the packet, go out to the site visit. We looked at, they're gonna eliminate that 3 junky sheds. That's gonna be gone. The deck's gonna be moved, gone. So just the 3 sheds was 128 square feet. The new proposed one is 96, so you're dropping that 30. The location of it is a lot better. The other sheds are up against the fence, touching the property line. Yes, this don't meet property line, but it's 5 feet away. It's in a way better location. So when I look at the whole thing after I'm all through this, I just looked at possibly there's a right to replace what's there. But to me, I look at you're not really adding anything. You're taking away some things, just replacing it in a different location. It actually does more justice to the lake, to that lake shore. It's a better spot, not where that dip is and all that water can congregate. So that's when I look at it, is this reasonable or not? That's how I come up with my reasonableness for this, is when we're taking away all them things, yes, you can't meet setbacks, but the other stuff don't either. And it's getting cleaned up. I know we ain't really horse trading, but I just think it's an improvement on the property without giving excess, overusing it than what it's already been in the past. That's just a comment I had.
Thank you, Clint. You kind of said it, yeah.
Mr. Chair,
Marv?
I don't know, I thought that deck, is it gonna be gone, or is it gonna be moved to another area? Where the shed is proposed to be
Right, what we're
put?
looking at right now. Initial plan was to remove it. I am under the impervious percentage or whatever. So then I had the question as to whether I could keep it and just relocate it. If not, I'm fine with having to remove that and just have the shed there.
Okay, so yesterday evening when I went to look at it, and obviously I agree with Clint's remarks about the sheds that were put there, and you know, you had 128 square feet of them, and obviously they're junk, and they're a sty, no question about it.
Right.
And your property, as you look at it, sandy soil, you have you know, nothing leaching, nothing eroding, going towards the lake that's going to pose a problem because it's saturating in there. Yeah. And I said, well, it looks like this deck is going to be gone here. And good, well, here with that being gone, removal of all this here and placing this, it always want, you know, you're going to have tubes, you're going to have a lawnmower, where are you going to put all this stuff? And where would you rather have it put in a place that'd be locked up and in an area where it makes more sense by the trees, a fence, in an area where it's not gonna, water won't go very far away, and you know, you're down to 96 square feet. And that's why I agree with Clint. I mean, each piece of these properties are unique in how we look at it, and it's just like, okay, if she removes everything here, puts that, I might be in favor for these reasons. So,
Okay.
anyhow, them are my remarks for now.
Thanks, Marv.
Mr. Chair.
Clint?
For me to stay with what I just commented and my thoughts and beliefs, I'd like to add a condition to this, that them 3 old storage sheds be removed and that deck, or patio, whatever you call it, the wood structure.
Okay,
For me to keep my thoughts and what I spoke earlier.
Good with that?
okay.
Kate?
Mr. Chair,
Yes.
and I'd like to add to that, because at the site viewing, it was mentioned, you know, that he'd like to, you know, we want to make sure he doesn't fill in that area where those old sheds are. We want to make sure that that just gets seeded to grass or something, because they were talking about adding some fill in there, and I guess we don't want to add fill in there. That's going to force the water over into the neighbor's property.
Yeah,
So I'd like
that
that
was
to
my
be added.
understanding at the end
Yep.
of Friday's meeting or whatever, that we're just removing the sheds, cleaning it up a little, and seeding.
Okay, so good with that?
Good with that.
Perfect. Okay. We are going to transition to the public comment. Any public comment, please go up to the microphone and state your name and address for the record and your facts. Any public comment? Any public comment? Third and final time, any public comment? Hearing none, we will close this portion of the meeting to the public and move to the finding of fact criteria. Questions? Okay, question 1. Is the request in harmony with the general purposes and intent of the Morrison County Land Use Ordinance and Comprehensive Plan? Marvin?
Hitting up first every time, but that's all right. Well, I believe it is, and how this is accomplished is, you know, what we have there is numerous factors. One being you're gonna, we're not gonna be, there, by what you're asking, you're mitigating these issues, what you had with your other sheds. You're going to remove them, you're going to be removing the deck, and you, by doing that, you're cleaning up the area in something that will not stand out in the neighborhood, won't stand out from the lake, and will not propose any issues that water could be eroding soils towards it. So I believe it is fits within the comp plan for them reasons.
Thank you, Marv.
Mr.
Anybody-
Chairman?
Yep.
I'd like to add to that, so there is an increase in, or decrease in impervious surface with the removal of the 3 sheds, the deck, and the new shed is only 96 square feet. And also, something that we failed to address is that we are moving from in the shore impact zone to outside of the shore impact zone.
Good point. Thank you. Okay, question 2, is the applicant proposing to use the property in a reasonable manner not permitted by land use ordinance? Brent?
I think they're using it in a reasonable manner, and what they proposed here is, for a non-conforming single lot where the setbacks from the lake, the side, and the road all overlap each other, there is no building envelope that exists anywhere. But they do have to come forward to apply for a variance for anything that they do. The proposal before us has the removal of those things that are in the shore impact zone being removed, increasing the impervious surface area by removing the deck with the condition recommended by Clint, and building or not necessarily building, but hauling in a shed that's smaller than the 3 combined that are being removed, I think is all a reasonable use of the property, and having some sort of storage shed associated with lakeshore recreational activity is somewhat needed.
Thank you, Brent. Question 3 is, will the issuance of the variance maintain the essential character of the locality? George?
Yes, I believe the essential character will be improved and maintained. The proposed storage shed will be moved further away out of the shore impact zone from the lake. It'll be less visible from the lake, and it should really improve the looks of the property.
Thank you, George. Question 4 is, the alleged practical difficulty due to circumstances unique to the property? Clint?
Yes, I believe this property and neighboring properties, here they can't, here's the property, the whole thing, everything, the dwelling, everything, nothing, it's non-compliant. There is no building envelope anywhere on this property, and we already have structures that were put in place from years past, maybe before ordinance changes, who knows, but they're there, right? So I think when we look at, getting rid of some of the stuff that we're doing, actually they're asking for a lot smaller footprint. It's in a better location. When we look at the soils, the sandy soil, if they could meet the setbacks, it's a great property along with neighboring ones or whatever, but we're looking at this property. And so I think what's unique about it is it's a good building site. It's good. There isn't going to be a lot of runoff to the lake and things like that, but there just is no building envelope for even the structures that are there. And I guess how I view this is we're not adding a structure, we're just replacing and making it smaller is kind of how I see it. So I'd have to say yes to question 4.
Thank you, Clint.
Just to add, Mr. Chair?
Yes?
I think what's interesting here too is that you're taking from one side of the property where it's up against, on the south side, up against a neighboring fence and a neighboring lot, and moving it away to the north side of the lot, which is by the DNR landing and the fence there. It isn't going to be bothersome to a neighbor or somebody that's also trying to enjoy the lake there. I think I just want to add that.
Thank you, Brent. Question 5 is the need for the variance created by actions other than the landowner or prior landowners. Well, we did have the structure on the property during a time of a different ordinance in place, and obviously since that's changed, you can't put a single thing on that property without requesting a variance at this time. And the fact that you are improving the property both from an impervious surface perspective and aesthetic perspective, and then just cleaning it up in general and agreeing to the conditions that are going with this vote, I would answer yes to that question. Question 6, does the alleged practical difficulty involve more than just economic considerations? Marv?
I believe it does, as was stated earlier, moving out of the shore impact zone and removing the ones that were in the shore impact zone, cleaning up the sheds that were by the neighbors, lowering the impervious surface are some of the factors were thought about. So just more than just economic considerations.
Thank you, Marv. Okay, on to the vote. We have two conditions. One, to make sure we're not touching the backside and putting fill in there. It's just
Contour.
removing and seeding. And then deck, all the sheds are coming off for the shed that's going on.
Agreed.
Did I hit that right?
Yep, and Mr. Chair, would you want a deadline for that work to be done?
When do you plan on actually doing it?
I'd like to remove those 3 sheds as quickly as possible, but it is fall going into winter. I'd like that taken into consideration or whatever. As long as I can remove the 3 old nasty sheds. Do I need?
What's
to
reasonable for you?
What's reason? I would say have it all cleaned up by May of next year.
May 31st of 2026.
And I have a question then about that.
Yes.
So do I have to, if this is granted, do I have to apply for the permit before that time of the removal of those items?
No, you would have that deadline, but you could apply for the permit anytime.
Okay.
But then you would just need to make sure that you're meeting that deadline for the conditions.
Removal, yes.
Perfect. Okay, that's your conditions and considerations as you're going through and voting on this. Question 1 is the request in harmony with the general purposes and intent of the Morrison County Land Use Ordinance and Comprehensive Plan. Marvin?
Yes.
Brent?
Yes.
George?
Yes.
Clint?
Yes, with the conditions.
John is yes. Question 2 is the applicant proposing to use the property in a reasonable manner not permitted by the land use ordinance. Brent?
Yes.
George?
Yes.
Clint?
Yes, with the conditions.
John is yes. Marv?
Yes.
Question 3, will the issuance of the variance maintain the essential character of the locality? George?
Yes.
Clint?
Yes.
John is yes. Marv?
Yes.
Brent?
Yes.
Question 4, is the alleged practical difficulty due to circumstances unique to the property? Clint?
Yes.
John is yes. Marv?
Yes.
Brent?
Yes.
George?
Yes.
Question 5, is the need for the variance created by actions other than the landowner or prior landowners? John is yes. Marv?
Yes.
Brent?
Yes.
George?
Yes.
Clint?
Yes.
Question 6, does the alleged practical difficulty involve more than just economic considerations? Marv?
Yes.
Brent?
Yes.
George?
Yes.
Clint?
Yes.
John is yes, which puts all 6 questions answered in the affirmative. Is there a motion?
Mr. Chair, I'd make a motion that we approve this application with the 2 conditions.
Is there a second?
I'd second that, Mr. Chair.
Motion was made by Clint and seconded by Brent to approve the requested variance. All in favor, say aye. Brent?
Aye.
George?
Aye with the conditions.
Marv?
Aye.
Clint?
Aye.
John is aye. Your application has been, or your variance has been approved. So thank you for
very
your
much,
time
everyone.
and keep working with Land Services for
Okay,
future developments. Thank you.
thank you.
Thank you. Agenda item number 2. I'm going to butcher this. Timothy Machi, Yasmin Crow, and Jeremy Mugg. Please come up to the table here and state your name and address for the record. Application for a variance to allow a type 3 septic on a newly created parcel.
Jasmine Grow.
Jeremy Mugg, 9512 60th Street, Bolus.
Thank you. Okay, Ms. Amy, staff report?
Yes, Mr. Chair, this is a request to allow the creation of a parcel that cannot support a type 1 septic system. The ordinance sections that pertain to this is 1301.12, and that requires that all new lots must have a minimum of 2 soil treatment and dispersal areas that can support a type 1 system. And then 1501.4 regarding land suitability for subdivision and the ability to support a type 1 septic system. Here's an aerial photograph of the property, and that's outlined in blue. And then here is another shot of that with the proposed land split outlined in red. Here's a wetland delineation that the Soil and Water Conservation District did. And then here is the photo of the type of home that is proposed. And then here are photos from the site visit. This is a 36-acre parcel, and the applicant proposes to purchase a portion of the east end of the parcel to place a home. The septic designer could not find an area where soil conditions would allow a type 1 septic system, and the applicant requests a variance to create the lot and install a type 3 mound septic system. There is wetland on the proposed parcel, which has been delineated by the Soil and Water Conservation District. And then here are your criteria questions, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Ms. Amy. Anything to add to that report? No. Sounded good? Okay. Open up to the board members for discussion and questions, comments.
Mr. Chair.
Marv.
Well, as you heard over and over tonight, talk about protecting ag land and prime ag land. And I rent property not very far from there. I'm very familiar with that property. Anyhow, I'm wondering and a little bit concerned, just to the north of you, Darrell Larson just built a new home put up there, and he's got a mound system, but he didn't have to come in for a permit. If this, Tim's got some land, he apparently made agreement of buying this here, but if you go to, that would be the south of there, it's higher and more wooded, it's pasture now. Why wasn't that approached, or why didn't it go down that road versus a field, as, granted it's wet, but that's still a pretty decent chunk of property that may be losing an egg, and I'm a little bit concerned that we're gobbling up egg property, building on right along here. And part of the comp plan that was rewritten in the last few years to protect prime egg land. So how can you answer that?
So you're saying how to protect, or
Well, so first, here's a field that you want to put in.
Yep.
And I apparently must have made some agreement with Tim or whatever like that. Did you think about to the south, it's more wooded, it's a bit higher, closer, that may have not needed a type 3 system? Did you look at that in not losing prime egg land here?
we looked at it, but looking at elevation, we were told that we wouldn't find any more suitable soil or anything farther down.
Further to the south that wouldn't meet that criteria?
Correct.
Okay. Yeah, it concerns me if this egg land. And what is your intent, if you put this, what is your intent with that property? What's going to be happening with that field in the future? Are you planning someone to still farm that and just use up an acre or so with the building, or what is the intent there?
To use up an acre for the buildings and then leave everything else as it was. Or
Okay.
putting up for like goats or like few, like 2 or 3,
Okay, so it would be used in some extent like that?
yes.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks, Marv.
Mr. Chair.
Clint.
And then I see there's stakes and everything out there, and on your proposal here, it shows where the driveway and go and stuff. You got that all taken care of with township and all that stuff?
We got a verbal from the township.
Okay, so you have talked to them and, okay. And then, the funny thing, Amy, this one was one where we had 0 separation, right?
Yes.
Which is what kind of surprised me, because this is an area that's got lots of gravel and all that, and yes, it's lower. But really what surprised me the most was that we got 0 separation and we got alfalfa growing in that field. So this is just kind of it's a pretty weird, situation for me. Looks like it's far enough away from the wetland, big enough piece. I was just most concerned with, you talked to the township and got that all taken care of.
Yep.
That's all I had, Mr. Chair.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Chairman.
George?
I guess I was just looking at this lot, looking at the photograph of the lot, there's row crop to the west. And to me, I guess there's a reason that they stopped the row crop where they did, because it's probably most of the time too wet down on that end of the field for it. It's probably pretty poorly drained soil down there. It's very, very flat down the bottom of that. It's a bowl is what it is. So I just want to make that comment.
Thank you. Okay, probably going to move this one along. If no other comments, questions, I'm going to open this up to the public. Any public comment? It's once. Any public comment? That's twice. Any public comment? That's 3 times. We'll close this section of the meeting to the public and go on to the finding of fact criteria questions. Question 1. Is the request in harmony with the general purposes and intent of the Morrison County Land Use Ordinance and Comprehensive Plan? Brent.
I think it is. Part of our role here is to balance preserving agricultural lands within the county, but also looking at the need for residential development and expansion in the future. So here we're looking at folks wanting to move in a mobile home, I think I read on stilts, and then having a septic placed in there. While it won't support a type 1, they have to apply for a type 3 septic, and I think all of this is in harmony with the general purposes and intent of the comp plan and
Thank
land
you.
use.
Thank you, Brent. Sorry, thought you were done.
Mr. Chair,
Marv.
I think it's in conflict, as you probably remember my comments earlier. There's property available right next to it that I think would not be involved in taking away valuable property of their ag land. So, I think it's in conflict that way. And there'd be property right next to it that could be, would be better suited for this, in my opinion.
Thank you, Marv. Anybody else? Okay, question 2. Is the applicant proposing to use the property in a reasonable manner not permitted by land use ordinance? George.
So the lot does not support a type 1 septic system, hence we're here applying for a type 3 variance. The wetlands have been delineated. They're proposing a mobile home on the site. There is farmland on the site, and I guess my opinion of the farmland, it's marginable at best. So I believe this request is reasonable for reasonable use not permitted by the land use ordinance.
Thank you, George. Thank you, George. Anybody else? Okay, question 3, will the issuance of the variance maintain the essential character of the locality? Clint?
Yes, if you look, it's, in this whole area, you go within a couple mile circle of this, actually, there's some farms, with some bigger acreages, and then there's also, just some, houses that are out there. One Marv just spoke about that was just put up on top of the hill. There was a new house that's kind of put in amongst the farmland and all that. So if you go up and down the road and you go a mile south, there's a lot of homes. I think it fits in. Nobody's really gonna say, wow, what, there's a house and all these farms. I think they're used to that around there, so it ain't gonna really change anything.
Thank you, Clint. Anybody else? Question 4, is the alleged practical difficulty due to circumstances unique to the property? In this application specifically, that one goes to me. It's your soils. The whole reason why you're requesting the type 3 and not able to put in a type 1 here. So, and even a little more unusual was the shorter than probably any piece of land we've ever actually viewed. So, that's your practical difficulty unique to that property. Anybody else? Okay, question 5. Is the need for the variance created by actions other than the landowner or prior landowners? Marv?
The need for the variance is the property and not being able to fit a type 1 system. I'm going to use, for instance, my brother-in-law, he wanted to sell a piece of property to his son to build on. This just very recently, and he had someone check for soil borings samples. He had to build or purchase a piece of property that was further away, not as desirable, but it would fulfill the type 1. So what he wanted, he couldn't do it. But the need for this, is the soil, and also in part is the landowner selling you this property rather than others.
Mr. Chair, I just add, just on this particular plot that we're looking at, the need is because it can't meet the soil bore. I understand that. Where it's proposed on this particular parcel, where it's being proposed to be, it's probably in the more suitable part of that parcel. So with them being, like I said, we go to the eastern part of the county, we see all kinds of this. It's very surprising that we see it here, but evidently it happened, that the soil boring won't allow them to make a type 1 system, so they're asking for type 3. So I think basically it's, just they can't make it, and they're looking to build on to me, it's high enough elevation to build a house on. It just can't pass the soil borings.
Thank you, Clint. Question 6, does the alleged practical difficulty involve more than just economic considerations? Brent?
I think it does. If it was just economic considerations, we'd be putting in a type 1 and we wouldn't have all of this. Type 3 is going to be more costly to put in. You're going to have to haul in dirt to support it. And so they're not trying to, cut corners here. They're just trying to make things work in the county, and they have to do this. So it involves more than just the economics.
Thank you, Brent. Okay, on to the vote for this one. Back to question 1. Is the request in harmony with the general purposes and intent of the Morrison County Land Use Ordinance and Comprehensive Plan? Brent?
Yes.
George?
Yes.
Clint?
Yes.
John is yes. Marv?
No.
Question 2, is the applicant proposing to use the property in a reasonable manner not permitted by land use ordinance? George?
Yes.
Clint?
Yes.
John is yes. Marv?
Yes.
Brent?
Yes.
Question 3, will the issuance of the variance maintain the essential character of the locality? Clint?
Yes.
John is yes. Marv?
Yes.
Brent?
Yes.
George?
Yes.
Question 4, is the alleged practical difficulty due to circumstances unique to the property? John is yes. Marv?
Yes.
Brent?
Yes.
George?
Yes.
Clint?
Yes.
Question 5, is the need for the variance created by actions other than the landowner or prior landowners? Marv?
No.
Brent?
Yes.
George?
Yes.
Clint?
Yes.
John is yes. Question 6, does the alleged practical difficulty involve more than just economic considerations? Brent?
Yes.
George?
Yes.
Clint?
Yes.
John is yes. Marv?
Yes.
I have all 6 questions answered to the affirmative. Is there a motion to approve this variance as requested?
Mr. Chair, I'd make a motion to approve.
Okay.
I'll second the motion, Mr. Chairman.
Motion was made by Brent and seconded by George to approve the variance as requested. All in favor, say aye. Brent?
Aye.
George?
Aye.
Marv?
Nay.
Clint?
Aye.
John is aye. Your variance application has been approved. Keep working with Land Services as you continue to move ahead. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Kurt, come on up. Number 3, or I'm sorry, Kenneth. I said Kurt.
I am Kurt.
Oh, yeah, okay. I'm not crazy. I do remember. I was there, yeah. Please state your name and address for the record.
Kurt Warzeka, 22088 Nature Road, Royalton.
Thank you. And this is for an application for a variance to construct a storage building over the 3,000 square feet within the setback to the river located in Buckman Township. And Miss Amy, staff report.
Okay, Mr. Chair, again, this is to construct a shed within setback to the river. The ordinance section that applies is 706.1, which requires a 100-foot setback from tributary rivers. But for the size that is proposed, it does require an additional setback of 4 times the setback from the river. Here is an aerial photograph of the property outlined in blue. And then some oblique imagery of the property as well. And then here is a site drawing provided by the applicant. And then some site photos taken at the viewing. The Little Rock Creek runs through the property, and the property comprises 2 parcels with a Tier 1 beef chicken feedlot. The applicant proposes construction of a 27-foot tall, 56 by 80 pole shed for machinery storage 200 feet from the creek. Typically, a 100-foot setback from the creek is required, but due to the size and height of the structure, a 400-foot setback is required. The shed is also proposed to straddle the property line. The parcels will be combined to eliminate the need to apply property line setback. There is room on the parcel to meet all setbacks and locate the shed within the agriculture zoned portion of the property. The applicant cites issues with irrigation and utility lines. Portions of this feedlot are within the shoreland zoning district and setback from the Little Rock Creek. The Little Rock Creek is an impaired water for aquatic life, aquatic recreation, and drinking water. If this variance is approved, the staff recommends the following conditions. 1, that the structure shall not be utilized for animal or manure holding at any time. 2, stormwater from the roof must be controlled so as not to enter the open cattle lot on the west side of the proposed shed. And then at the viewing, Clint had suggested ditching shall be established on the north and south sides of the building, directing water to the east. And then here are criteria questions, Mr. Chair.
Can you run back one slide quick?
You bet.
Any additional comments, questions, revisions to add to that report? And then are these conditions here, you're good with those?
Everything looks fine, yes.
Perfect. Thank you. So those are the conditions that we are already adding to this as we're having this discussion. So I'll open it up to the board members for comment, questions.
Mr. Chair.
Brent?
I don't have any questions.
Okay.
Okay. Mr. Chair.
Marv?
I do have questions. This first one is basically to Amy, and you did kind of cover it at first. This height ordinance that was put in place here, is it because of the Little Rock Creek or rivers and tributaries? That was the main reason for that height ordinance, why it was put in place, correct?
Well, Mr. Chair, this was really regarding anything within the shoreland zoning district, and because of it, and because of this proposed site's proximity to the Little Rock Creek, which has a shoreland designation.
Yeah.
So he's proposing construction within the shoreland zoning district. And so that's what's driving those restrictions. So it isn't any different than on a lake or a river. It's
Yeah.
just if it falls within that shoreland zoning district, then those accessory structures have those limitations.
Okay, and if you're familiar with that property, we went out there and he's seen it, and, you know, I grew up around that area and been around there a bit, and that is not much of a creek going through that area, you know, and now you can't even tell it's there, it's all grown up like that, but you understand the ordinance, does it apply in this, and we got to look at it. I'm looking at it also, here he's got a big grain bin there, and Kurt, how tall is that grain bin?
38 feet.
38 feet, and here, why was that not a problem when that was built then?
So this farm has probably been established for a very long time.
Yes,
And it would be allowed in the location that it is now. So he's considered a legal nonconformity.
yep,
So by today's standard, that feedlot wouldn't exist within that shoreline zoning district, but he has rights to continue what he's always had.
okay, well, and I'm just looking at the height of this versus the height of the bin and whatever, and something as, I think majority of us know this, you just drive up and down the countryside, everything is getting larger than the farm, taller, bigger, and you have to build bigger sheds to keep it in, whether we like it or not. I mean, I'm in the same situation. I ended up buying a combine and it wouldn't fit in my shed. I have to build a bigger shed, and I'm just a small operation. And you look at combines now, I think the smallest combine is like 400 horsepower, so everything is getting so much larger. And here he's trying to maintain that, and he's stuck in a hard place if he does builds a shed that was probably a little lower.
Well, Mr. Chair, it's the location of the shed.
Yeah, I get that, but
So.
now the other things that were proposed, as I stated earlier, and part of my voting on the previous one, it was protecting in a value for ag land. And that's, I firmly believe that's our county ordinance and how to do that. And here, part of the reason you do not want to put in value of our ag property that you have. Could it be brought out by the roadway? You got a power line there, so that can't work there. So where you're proposing, you go out in your farm site and you look at it, it does make sense in my eyes. So I get that where you're coming from. But, you know, I know we got to go through the questions, and I'm just bringing up things and for you to think about like that too, and others to think about. So thank you.
Thanks, Marv. Okay.
Mr. Chair, I have no questions. At the site visit, we got to see what the property looks like. I'll probably save my comments in my answers to my questions, but I think the site visit helped us quite a bit. Looking at the soil type and seeing how the whole thing is designed and where all the setbacks are. So I have no questions at this time.
Thank you. On to the public section of the meeting. Any public comment? Any public comment? Looking at Matt and Ed. Any public comment? Hearing none, asking for all three times. We will close this section of the meeting to the public and move on to the finding of fact criteria. Question number 1. As you're going through the questions, we have the conditions that were up, or that were in the staff report.
Mr. Chair, could you have Amy repeat them?
Just right there.
Okay.
So as we are going through these questions, please have those in the back of your head for consideration. Question 1 is the request in harmony with the general purposes and intent of the Morrison County Land Use Ordinance and Comprehensive Plan. George.
I think so. We're not doing anything with the shoreland here. It won't be disturbed. All trees and grasses between Little Rock Creek and the building site are going to be maintained with the conditions. He has also agreed to make sure the water moves to the east off of both sides of the shed, and also the water does not move into the cemented feedlot to the west. The runoff from the shed should all be contained around on the building site.
Okay. Thank you, George. Question 2, is the applicant proposing to use the property in a reasonable manner not permitted by land use ordinance? Clint.
Yes, I think if you look at the overall size of the property, the way the yard is set up, the proposed building is pretty modest. I mean, it's not really extravagant. When we look at some of these things, he should be 400 feet back because of the shoreline. He can't make that. But we got to look at this property. If this was my property, 400 feet probably wouldn't be far enough. So each property's different. This one with the sandy soil, the lay of the land, the way the water runs, the conditions that we put on where he's gonna move the water away and slow it down, and it's gonna go into the ground before it gets to that tributary. I think that just makes all this real reasonable where he's proposing to put that with them conditions.
Thank you, Clint.
Mr. Chair?
Marv.
Also, to add to that, that's all grass that is towards the creek, planting and keeping in the grass. All them trees are there with all the roots and everything else, so it shouldn't create an issue with that.
Thank you. Brent?
One comment here, just for the record, I guess, we are dealing with shoreland, and that's the ordinance request to deviate from it, but we are looking at a farm and a creek. If somebody in shoreland were looking to put in a 4,480 square foot building and just having to double the setback or not quadruple it, that'd be a whole different scenario. So for the record, and any future shoreland person that might be reading this, seeing the request, kind of has to understand this is unique to this property.
Thank you, Brent. Okay, question 3, will the issuance of the variance maintain the essential character of the locality? We kind of hit this in the beginning, talking about that grain bin that was 38 feet tall and how this one's going to blend in. And as far as you are off of the road specifically, and then having this building behind every other building, you'd literally have to drive to the backside of the property to actually see it in the first place. So it's minimal to no impact visibly or, from the property perspective as well, so fits right in. Okay, question 4. Is the alleged practical difficulty due to circumstances unique to the property? Marv?
It is, well, this farm site, I believe, it must be close to 100 years old, I'm guessing, from the Wazaka family.
103.
Okay, so anyhow, being that old, it was placed far before these ordinances were placed. And then also the creek was there and such a small little stream. It's not like it's the Mississippi River. It's still a shoreland and needs to be protected. But here with these situations, machinery getting larger, needing to have something to keep it under cover, protecting valuable ag property, you have numerous practical difficulties there.
Mr. Chair?
Thank you, Marv. Clint?
I'd just like to add that if we look at putting this structure in a different spot on the farm, we go on that north side of the chicken barn, you start pushing it to the east more, it messes with the property line, high line poles, you got irrigation pipes in the way. Marv hit it home all night tonight about saving real good farmland. That would mess with that. yes, we take the shoreland designation serious, but when we look at this particular property, just the way it's designed with the soil types, some of the mitigation stuff he's gonna do so that the water don't get all the way to that creek, I think that them are all practical difficulties here.
Thank you, Clint. Question 5, is the need for the variance created by actions other than the landowner or prior landowners? Brent?
Well, we heard already tonight, the farm was created roughly 103 years ago. It's placed where it is, and since then, it's grown to be operational. That growing and operational brings in the other structures and buildings that are there, the proximity of those to the utilities, the integration of irrigation above ground now complicates things, and/or moving it to other parts of the land potentially loses valuable cropland. So I think a lot of those things might be due to other than the landowner or previous landowners.
Thank you, Brent. Okay, question 6. Does the alleged practical difficulty involve more than just economic considerations? George?
Yes, I believe so. The proposed building is going to be in close proximity to the existing buildings, which is common sense. He's got above and below ground irrigation lines. He's looking to protect valuable farmland. He's got a chicken barn to contend with there that could affect airflow around the barn and ventilation for the flock of chickens. So I believe that it does involve more than economic considerations.
Thank you, George. Okay, on to the vote. All questions were discussed, answered, so we will, yes or no, we got the conditions that you're voting with on this. So question 1, is the request in harmony with the general purposes and intent of the Morrison County Land Use Ordinance and Comprehensive Plan? George?
Yes?
Clint?
Yes, with the conditions.
John is yes. Marv?
Yes, with the conditions.
Brent?
Yes.
Is the applicant proposing to use the property in a reasonable manner not permitted by land use ordinance? Clint?
Yes, with the conditions.
John is yes. Marv?
Yes,
Brent?
Yes.
George?
Yes.
Question 3, will the issuance of the variance maintain the essential character of the locality? John is yes. Marv?
yes,
Brent?
Yes.
George?
Yes.
Clint?
Yes.
Question 4, is the alleged practical difficulty due to circumstances unique to the property? Marv?
yes,
Brent?
Yes.
George?
Yes.
Clint?
Yes.
John is yes. Question 5, is the need for the variance created by actions other than the landowner or prior landowners? Brent?
Yes.
George?
Yes.
Clint?
Yes.
John is yes. Marv?
yes,
Question 6, does the alleged practical difficulty involve more than just economic considerations? George?
Yes.
Clint?
Yes.
John is yes. Marv?
yes,
Brent?
Yes.
I have all 6 questions answered to the affirmative. Is there a motion to approve the requested variance with the conditions?
Mr. Chair, I'd like to make that motion.
Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Go ahead.
Motion was made by Marv and seconded by Clint. All in favor, say aye. Brent?
Aye.
George?
Aye.
Marv?
Aye,
Clint?
Aye.
John is aye. Your variance has been requested, and please continue to work with Land Services as you move ahead. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yep.
We are on to new or old business.
Mr. Chair, I don't have either.
Okay. On to the minutes.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
so Sharon, those minutes got approved or changed on the, so on the second page, a motion was made by George Sandy to disapprove the variance request or deny the variance request instead of approve. And the changes have been made, but our copies were out before they got made.
So you make a motion to approve the amended minutes.
revised the minutes.
I'll second it.
A motion was made and seconded. All in favor, Brent?
Aye.
George?
Aye.
Marv?
Aye.
Clint?
Aye.
John is aye. Minutes amended? Okay.
Yeah, motion adjourned.
Second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Aye. Meeting adjourned at 8:05.